no shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
Don't tell me what I can do. It's just sometimes you don't want Samuel Jackson looking at you, man, at all. I think it's been said by a lot of people. I'm tired of this funny shit that y'all are doing. Marvel, you know, everything got jokes now. Everything look like a damn kids movie. Everything look like gummy bears or gummy worms. You know, everything's so bright and cheerful, man. You know what? I remember when y'all was serious, man. I remember when y'all were
it meant something.
When y'all were dark. You know, I remember when y'all used to when y'all weren't all about the kids. You know, I remember you used to hang with adults. You know, you used to speak to me, my grown ass. You know, now everything just jokes to you. What happened to the days of Captain America, Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier. Yeah.
What happened to Civil War? You know, when we did like adult things, like have a kid in underoos jump on a truck. You know, what happened to stuff like that? When we getting back to that, well, Marvel says that they heard you. They say, oh, you know, we've been thinking of a few things here. Now, it ain't gonna be in the theater, but you know something, y'all don't want it because now we got stories that are so mature that it takes hours to tell, episodes upon episodes, at least 6.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we got here. I mean, you want something that's got sort of like a spy thriller. Who better to follow doing that than your boy, Old Man Fury, Nick Fury, played by none other than Samuel Jackson. And that's what we got here with Secret Invasion. Now, with Secret Invasion, you know, we saw Samuel Jackson last time he was hanging in space, wearing a Hawaiian shirt, had on flip-flops, and he was hanging with the Skrulls. You know, those green elf lizard-looking people. Shapeshifters. He even was hanging with them. One of them is his boy, Talos, played by Ben Mendelsohn. So, you know, the Skrulls have been cool for a while, but, you know, they've been on Earth and they said, listen, you told us that if we stuck around long enough and were cool, then Earth would be able to, humans, they would accept us. Well, now they're still being treated like refugees, still being treated like second-class citizens, to the point that they have to keep hiding, and they are sick of it. And now they said, you know what? If you can't follow through with your promise, Nick Fury, if humans don't want to accept us, we'll just take this bitch over. You know, we'll just move y'all out and we'll just move right in. So there's a plan by the Skrulls to come in and take over Earth. But that means getting the humans out the way. And they do have the advantage because, as we know, for those of us who've been keeping up with Marvel, Skrulls are shapeshifters. And they have the ability to be anyone and mix in with us at any time. And not only that, because since they can do that, they've made Nick Fury one of the most wanted people on the planet. On the planet. On the planet. Who am I, Medea? On the planet. On the planet. By making him a criminal. Can one man who's wanted by not just Skrulls, but his own kind, human beings, can he stop a worldwide invasion by extraterrestrial beings all by himself? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for Marvel's Secret Invasion, and we'll be back with our review of 2 episodes.
You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us, old friend.
He's like, bitch, don't tell me what I can do. It's just sometimes you don't want Samuel Jackson looking at you, man.
At all.
At all. Even with that bad eye. Damn, boy, that bad eye's scarier than the good one. Looking like a deformed ice cube or something. So, we saw the first 2 episodes, as I said, and this will be out next week. It's streaming on June 21st. And let me go back a little bit here, find something before I get into it. Let's see here. Okay, so, as you can tell by having a show about shape-shifting aliens who are trying to take over the planet Earth and get rid of human beings, and before they do that, have them turn on one man. The theme here is paranoia. And I will say that the first episode, the very beginning, I think they set that up extremely well.
They did.
Yeah, I think they set that up very well. They really did set up that you cannot trust anyone because it's going to mess with your head too, unless you're just really, really paying attention, which you probably won't be. That's what they're counting on. You're not gonna know what's happening, and then after that, you're not gonna be able to trust anything that's going on. So they're putting you in the mind of the characters in the show, which is great. And when they do that and start getting into the story, you immediately get the feeling of two things with this. So for some of you who might be a little older or you just like these kind of things, you're getting the feeling of a Cold War spy thriller, you know, where you have an era where everyone was nervous that somebody else was a communist.
Right.
You know, and that was a big thing during the 60s, 50s that they did. So if you don't know about it, your parents probably saw some of this, or your grandparents probably saw movies like this. But it's an old-fashioned spy thriller in that sense. Also, there's the sci-fi part of it, which feels like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is funny because I was influenced by the communist scare out there. So I thought that was a good combination of those two things right there because, doing an old-fashioned spy thriller with green aliens, is tricky. Does it work? I think some parts better than others. Even in some of the most outlandish parts of this, because as I said, we have green aliens here. I think that it helps that everyone is taking it seriously, no matter how crazy it gets. I mean, everybody's committed.
It's refreshing because so much of, Marvel has been all about the jokes and the humor. Not everything, but so much of it has. And it's refreshing to come into something. I feel like it hasn't been since the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that they were fully serious about something.
Yeah, the Skrulls as characters, and at least in the MCU and the comics, I know it's a different thing. Skrulls in the comics, but in the MCU, they never look great to me, man. They look like rubber. They bright green. They got these stiff ears. It looks like somebody took a mask from the store and actually enhanced it a little bit with a proper makeup job. It just doesn't look convincing to me. And it's fine when they're being funny. They're hanging out with Spider-Man and they're cracking jokes and whatnot. Okay, I can deal with that because, we're not taking anything seriously when we're cracking jokes. It's harder when you're being serious to take them seriously. But everyone is playing it so straight that I still feel like I'm watching actors dressed up as lizard people.
Yeah.
But their personal dramas, their personal stories, it makes me interested in the bigger story, and it did make me accept it a little bit better. It's hard. It's just me. It's just hard for me to get past that makeup job. But then, it didn't stop me from immersing myself into what was going on here. And the performances that people commit to here, I think helps out with that. And also helps to know that these Skrulls are not fucking around.
Well, that's true.
that if you want to, you can laugh all you want to with that green makeup. They said, but we ain't playing though. There is an act of terrorism that goes on in one of these episodes, man, and the violence is more mature here, man. The terrorism they show bodies being blown up. They let you know that what kind of casualties and the number of casualties that happen with it. And listen, given that we are seeing, a lot of violence being done on masses of people right here in this country.
Yeah.
But acts of terrorism around the world. It's a little uncomfortable sometimes because again, that's how serious this show is playing it, man. The violence feels like real world violence in a lot of things. Especially when they do acts of terrorism like blowing up town squares with innocent, people and children there. They don't flinch with that.
Right.
I think that gives this show a real feeling of consequence. Rubber mask be damned. It really does make me feel like, all right, you know what? Where I was kind of not taking this serious before, I was laughing at these green people. Now I feel like there is a real threat going on. There's graphic torture in this. Graphic scenes of torture.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like movies and shows have kind of they've been trying to get away from that because people have been calling them out. Like somebody did a report on how many movies and TV shows just in a year had torture in them. And when you look at it, you're like, God damn. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, especially with us knowing like, hey man, torture is not cool and it doesn't really get the results you want. but so many shows where the good guys use torture all the time, and we're supposed to root for them. Yeah, get them.
Yeah, people. We ain't talking about waterboarding. We ain't talking about giving somebody a drink or or something like that. We're talking about blood. You're talking about blades and knives and torture tools. Again, they want you to know that this is a more mature show, so they bumped up the violence, they bumped up the graphic scenes of torture, in addition to just how the rest of the show feels like it's matured a little bit. And we'll get into that in a little while. But I would tell you this, I do like the decision that they cannot call in any superheroes here. Now we're dealing with a show where it's too risky even for the costume heroes to come in here. So this allows for us to get not any big scenes of tearing up cities and not any big spectacle scenes. We're flying around showing you, oh, look at the money we got for these special effects. We get a lot of scenes of characters, no costumes, sitting around having conversations with each other.
As a matter of fact, we have one Avenger in these first 2 episodes who does not even come close to putting his suit on.
No, not at all, man. Roadie Rhodes, played by Don Cheadle. Him and Nick Fury sit down and they have a conversation, man, and it's a great scene between them because they are talking. This is how real the conversations get in here. You want to talk about a grounded show? Shit didn't get no more real than when Nick Fury and Roadie Rhodes sat down to talk to each other, and they talked about everything from politics to dropping the race car.
Yep.
Don't come here with that brother shit.
I was like, oh god damn. Yeah. Well, even when he said it, like, come on, you got to help a brother. I was like, don't do that. You're better than that.
Yeah.
And he showed with he's like, oh, that's that car. Well, let me throw it back in your face.
I'm not about to put my head on the line, brother. Because they get down to talking some, not just politics, but racial politics.
Yeah.
And I gotta listen. I don't blame Roadie because Nick tried to guilt his ass.
Oh yeah. No, it's like that guy talking to you, like because we eat collard greens.
Hey brother, because we eat chitlins and greens, man. Come on, you know how the white folks do. And Roadie like, I know they do. They pay me well.
and don't act like you didn't fuck up. So
shit got real, man. And there's a lot of conversations in there like that, man. That's one of the things that I did appreciate about the show too. That's
what I liked the most about it. With the conversation, the performances and the conversation.
Yeah, I did too, man. Because for a lot of the things, they're not afraid to address, as I told you, violence. They're not afraid to address politics, but they're not afraid to address race. Now it doesn't get bogged down with social commentary, not at all. But there are moments when people, because a lot of this in the beginning, a lot of this takes place in the Soviet Union, Moscow.
Yeah.
And several people remind Nick Fury, so you gonna go walking out in the middle of Moscow at night, you a tall ass black man. They constantly say a black man is not gonna get as much done as you think they will with the way you look and the place that you are.
Yeah.
They constantly remind him about that. And Fury makes jokes about race. Even makes jokes about being a spook.
Yeah.
So it seems like everything that they do here, it is intentionally trying to attract a larger audience. Now, I don't know if that is in response to the backlash or at least the criticism that Marvel has been getting, or is Marvel naturally felt like it's time that we kind of switch tones.
Yeah, well, it just seems whenever they, never mind. I was going to say whenever they deal with this kind of spy universe, they get serious, but then at the same time with Black Widow, that was silly.
Yeah. It also allows for us to get introduced to some other characters. Again, not the new superhero or the new supervillain of the week or the episode or the movie. This is something where we get to be, again, a little more grounded characters who get to perform. Like Olivia Coleman. She plays a character called Sonya Falsworth. And I love that character, man. She plays that role with this cheerful menace, which, the kind of person who's so cheerful that I know you ain't up to no good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You doing some shit. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she's like for all her, her smiling Britishness, she's somebody that you don't want to get into a room with.
Yeah, trying to talk about, hey, I work for MI6, so I got to be good. Nah, bitch, you up to something. I know I don't know what it is, but you get this sinister feeling from her. Yeah, she works for MI6 as an old associate of Nick Fury. They've have some sort of working past together, but you just get this really bad feeling from her because she's too goddamn happy. And cool thing about this, Olivia Coleman is loving this role. You can tell.
Oh yeah.
You can tell that she loves this, man. But I do love that. This is one of the things that I look forward to with the show, to see where her shadiness leads to. Because I tell you, she's up to no good.
Of course she is.
I don't know what you're doing, but I don't like it.
I mean, you think, okay, I can't trust these scrolls. You can't trust the government people either.
No, that's the other thing with this. Yeah, everybody either lets you know I can't help you, or they're going to stab you in the back at some point. And then you got the scrolls out there. Speaking of scrolls and villains, Grabik is the main villain here, played by Kingsley Ben-Adir. If you saw him, if you see him in the show and you're wondering where did I see him before, he played Malcolm X.
Yeah.
And
what is it? One Night in Miami.
One Night in Miami.
And he's played Obama a couple of times.
That's right. He played it in. I remember that movie we saw. It was about Trump.
Yeah.
And he played Obama. As I said earlier, they established very well how dangerous he is. Now, I'm still not sold on his motivations because I think he's still kind of a whiny bitch. But
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I know exactly what you're saying. That's the thing. For all these good things we mentioned about the show, I'm still not completely sold on it, and a lot of it is him and the Skrulls and their motivation, and the whininess of it, and there's also a big factor of I don't really know you guys. I mean, I mostly saw you in the Captain Marvel movie, which we all kind of barely paid attention to.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna take the brother seriously because he's gonna blow up shit.
Yeah.
But his motivation still feels more whiny than it does feel legit. And I'm not saying that as a character. I'm saying that as the writing. I don't think the writing is fleshed him out well enough.
The actor pulls off what he needs to. Matter of fact, the longer he's on, the more he sells it. But the motivation. I was like, I'm kind of not feeling it.
Yeah. The Skrulls are just not my favorite villains, man. I don't like the way they look. I don't understand them very well. I don't think that their story has been told enough to actually. We're getting to this series where I'm with you. I don't think that we've had enough Skrull to really, be into it for the first 2 episodes.
Hey everyone, Corey here, and I hate to interrupt the video, but I have to give a word out to our sponsor right now. And can I be honest with you? It is 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm on vacation, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I was just out on the beach and I had a little bit of the Mary Jane. And I wish I hadn't because I don't handle that very well. I get very paranoid, I feel stupid. But if I was on that dadgrass, I'd be feeling just fine right now. Why? Because dadgrass is low in the THC but high in that CBD, which means that you feel just fine and dandy and not that paranoid and dumb feeling like I had. The way they describe it is their words, and I agree. It's like having a glass of wine instead of the whole bottle. For all you winos out there, you know what I'm talking about. And the product comes in many forms. It comes pre-rolled. It comes in gummies. It comes in tinctures. That's the jar that you get the little dippy thing. You put under your tongue. You go like, la, 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 la. And you can also get it for your best friend. That's right, the dogs. Your dog is going through high anxiety. Get them some dadgrass. They'll be feeling just fine with you. And you know what? You're still not convinced. I mean, feeling nice is not your thing. You need more convincing. All right. How about money? Yeah. All right. You're paying attention right now. So here's what you do. If you go to dadgrass.com/toasted, you'll get 20% off your first order. Let me spell that out for you. You know how to spell, but I'm going to do it anyway. dadgrass.com/TOASTED. If you put that in, you'll get 20% off your first order. I want to thank Dadgrass for sponsoring this portion of the show. I want to thank all of you out there for all of your support. Thank you, and I'll see you back in Austin. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I think, fortunately for me, this is something where they take away from the Skrull story enough to focus on character pieces here and character arcs and character motivations and character history, mainly with Nick Fury. I think Nick Fury, Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, is probably the most interesting thing here for me because, first of all, it's Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson's just very good, and Sam Jackson loves his role, and I've always loved him playing Nick Fury. But it's very interesting what's going on with his character because it's almost like he's got some sort of PTSD that we're learning about and don't know what's up with him yet. Nick Fury has changed, man. That blip fucked him up.
It really did. It really did. He can't. It's funny because it's 2 episodes full of enemies and loyal friends all telling him like, man, you ain't what you used to be, and you kind of ain't shit right now. And him not proving them wrong.
Yeah. And I don't like how you talking to me right now. I didn't do nothing to you. I'm trying to help you. He's prone to mood swings. He's prone to anger. And
crying fits.
Yeah, he didn't even want to come back to Earth. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm trying to figure out why he's turning against the only people who want to help him. And you know, I think that those are some of the best parts of the show for me.
Well, they seem to imply that the snap messed him up.
Yeah,
because he was just so strong and in charge of everything, and he just got shown like, yeah, when it comes down to it, you ain't in charge like you think you are.
Yeah, that's what I said. The blip fucked him up, man. And everybody's telling him, hey, man, listen, you know, you sure you just don't want to sit this out because you ain't the badass you were before you got blipped.
Is no shame in walking away, otherwise someone's gonna get hurt.
Motherfucker! See?
That's what the old Nick Fury would have done.
Yeah. There's even things that are done here where it might even kind of insinuate that the racism that he experienced in the past might be bubbling up and having him feel like he is too. You know, he's kind of telling stories about it being a kid. Man, speaking of which, he's so messed up. They got him talking like an old black man.
I know.
Did you notice that?
No. That's the thing. He's kind of bleeding over from his character from the last days of Ptolemy Gray.
Yeah,
with the beard and everything.
Damn. What was that when he chained up that girl?
Black Snake Moan.
Black Snake Moan. He started to look like his character from Black Snake Moan. I thought he was going to chain up Agent Hill over here. Keep talking that mess, girl. Oh, you got the devil up in you. He almost just talking like that. He's talking so much like an old black man. He went on a whole monologue about fried chicken.
I know.
I remember back in the day and he's talking just like this. Now, you know, back in the day, Nick Fury, he would talk like this with authority. It'd be a little black, but there'd be some authority behind it, and he sound like a modern black man. But he started talking about that fried chicken. I remember back in the day,
they would let us sit in the front.
Sitting in the back of the tray, we had a shoebox full of fried chicken. Deviled eggs, greens. It's like, brother, what happened to you, man?
Yeah. Please stop.
Shit. When'd you turn into a slave in space, man? I was like, man, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, Nick Fury never talked like Uncle Remus before.
No, I know. That got to me too. Plus, I was like, is this story going somewhere? Because that really was making like an old black man story. Like, all right, he lost the thread. He's talking about fried chicken.
Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with these scrolls blowing up shit.
Yeah, you gonna start talking about Brer Rabbit next? The Briar Patch? That reminds me about the time Brer Rabbit stole some chicken. Like,
yeah, okay, man.
Agent Hill ever tells you about the times we had banana bread.
And boy, that old signifying monkey, he thought he was going to get away.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That was a little weird to me. So they say that this is being pitched as the Andor of Marvel shows. And I like Andor, but I thought Andor had pacing problems. And I think it is like Andor in that sense. I think that this has some pacing problems. With Andor, I love the way that they skewed more serious, slightly more mature. I thought that there were some pacing problems with it. And this is reminding me of Andor in that sense. You know, I think they're doing some great things, man. I think they're doing the attempts at trying to tell a more mature story is very much appreciated. In fact, I would say that watching some of this, I say this all the time, but they're ready for the Punisher right now. They can, hey, you know I had to do it.
God damn, can we have one conversation where you don't crowbar that goddamn Punisher in there?
No! Until they do it. You better hurry up and bring him here. I will never shut up. You want me to stop? Get him in here. I want to see the Punisher. Where is he? Bring him in here. But you know, I feel the same thing here, man. A lot of great stuff that they're doing with the writing. There's a lot of ambitious things they're doing with more sophisticated storytelling. But I feel like this can move quicker.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, the same here.
Is it there's
something about it where I'm watching it and I'm appreciating the things I think are great, but there's also I'm doing a little tuning out. I'm doing a little checking my phone.
There's a lot of walking, a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Some scenes, and those things, and those scenes of walking, you could pep up your step and get to where you need to go a little bit quicker. These scenes with talking, a lot of that is over-explaining in some parts.
Yeah.
I think that with this being a thriller, a spy thriller, it really could up the suspense if this was paced a little quicker.
Well,
it would help with that.
And, you know, I love spy thrillers. And matter of fact, that's some of the things I've been watching the most between Netflix and Apple TV. Like one of my favorite shows on Apple TV is Slow Horses. Great spy thriller with some humor woven into it. But when I watch this, I go, this is kind of a junior spy thriller. Like it's getting a lot of the trappings right, but there's just certain elements that it is missing.
Yeah. Well, let me say to the show's credit with its pace. I do appreciate a slower pace. Don't get me wrong. I did not want something.
No, like an action movie with stuff happening all
I
the
did
time.
not want that. We have enough of that with Marvel, and that's fine in the right place. Oh, by the way, and Bill Mendelsohn, I think is it also helps that a lot of the Skrulls just stay in human form because one, I guess they don't want to keep them in makeup the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they want to spend the money to do that. And like I said, those makeup effects don't look that great to me anyway. But it is helped that a lot of these Skrulls stay in human form, like Bill Mendelsohn, who actually I think is pretty good too. You know, he was very comical and jovial and jokey in Spider-Man and some of the other things that we've seen. Now he's a little more serious as he's dealing with his daughter Gaia, who's played by Amelia Clark. I'll just get into it in a little bit. So I like what they're doing with the Skrulls in human form a little bit better. I'm glad that this is not one big, explosion-ridden action movie here, or show. I like that it slows down. I really love the scenes between people here. It just needs to be picked up a little bit. But also, to his credit for being slow, this is the problem you run into when you have 2 episodes, because it's too easy to judge this. Because this movie, right now, it's a slow progression, and I appreciate that. But that slow progression, it could lead to a big payoff, or not, in later episodes, because they are doing things now that you can't really judge yet. They're introducing characters that we don't know that well, like Amelia Clark's character. Right now, she's not that interesting of a character. She's not that great, but we have 4 more episodes to go. Maybe.
Oh, okay. So it's 6 altogether?
It's 6.
Well, here's the thing, though, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but with these 2 episodes, and I'm imagining they're going to release the 2 first, like as they've been doing, like 2 episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
But neither of these episodes end in a, ooh, I got to watch the next one.
No,
like
the cliffhanger,
even though something, is a little bit of a cliffhanger, but I didn't feel a sense of urgency, like, ooh, I got to watch that next one.
Yeah. That would actually, I didn't even think about that. That probably would help, man. Just something. It doesn't always have to be an action cliffhanger. Ends on a story note that you want to see what's happening. I've been watching Succession. This is about, this is about people in corporate backstabbing, and they always find a way to keep you wanting to know what's going to happen in the next episode.
Yeah.
Ain't got no aliens or anything like that. There ain't no explosions, no action or anything like that. It's just character-driven stories where, you want to see what these characters are going to do to each other in the next episode.
Yeah.
And so that's what they could do here. So I think you're right. I didn't even think about that, but I think you're right. But who knows? Maybe this will amp up in the next 4 episodes. They're introducing characters whose names we wouldn't even know right now. That seems kind of odd. But it's moving at a slow progression that hopefully it'll start to pick up in the next episode. We got 6 episodes. You got to pick it up quick.
Yeah.
So who knows, man? That's the problem with trying to watch things in 2 episodes and rate it, because we don't know the whole picture yet.
Exactly.
But if you want to watch the 2 episodes that are going to get released, and that's going to be on June 21st, I would say that my rating here is, I've been doing this a lot for a lot of things, but it's another one. I would say that my rating would be a matinee right now. And it's a favorable matinee. Like I said, I really enjoy the character stories here. So I'm hoping that this will get better. I'm really rooting for this because I think that Marvel needs to do this right now, and I don't want to see them drop the ball on it. So yeah, it's kind of a high-ish matinee for me.
It's more of a low matinee for me. I was even kind of flirting with a rental, but yeah, it's those conversations. Honestly, that conversation between him and Roadie is my favorite thing in this entire series.
Yeah. No, I love that too. So yeah, man. We'll see. 6 episodes. I don't think that this needs to be dragged out to 8 10 episodes. It doesn't need it, but they need to pick up the pace. They need to pick up, you know, the storylines and make these and make these characters interesting pretty soon, because you know they don't have a whole lot of time to work with. Those 6 episodes will be done before you know it.
Sure. Yes.
So,
It's weird that he's got to take down this whole secret cabal. He's only got 2 people on his team. I was like, does nobody take this threat seriously?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I got to think about that, because I like that he is one guy with this huge threat that he has to deal with by himself.
But it's a huge threat.
Yeah, but that's part of that's you know, again, that's to me, that's part of the interesting thing with this show. How is he going to take care of that? How is he going to do it? Because you know the odds are against him. So you know, how will he defeat them?
It's funny to think. Okay, the Skrulls, they can shape shift and look like anybody, and even imitate their voices, and they're stronger than humans. Why would you even allow even 20 of them to live on Earth?
They were cool.
It's like, no, y'all got to this.
Maybe they looked at me and said, or else. Move out the way. I don't want to hurt you, Nick. Yeah, I don't know. Shit, why'd you let the Hulk exist? You
can't stop him.
Yeah, you can't stop the Skrulls either. So, hey, man.
I mean, it was a point in Captain Marvel was like, all right, y'all going to be cool as we get you on the ship and get you somewhere else.
They would have come anyway. Look, we can't stop the border. They would have been here anyway.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, it's best not to piss them off and let them over here in a friendly turn.
Yeah, that's how that's working out.
Yeah, well, they got pissed off.